What is going on, guys? It is Jono. Today we're talking about artificial intelligence music and how you can generate it in a click of a button. Forget having to learn music production, spending months on a song, hiring somebody to create a song for you, or worst of all, using royalty music you know you're gonna hate anyways. Instead, we're gonna create world-class music literally in a click of a button. Now, I said world-class music there, and for a good reason, because if I was personally listening to this on a radio, I'd find it indistinguishable from some of the top hits out there. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but I can't tell the difference. And who is this for? It's for music producers that want to speed up their workflow and they want to leverage AI, right? By taking advantage of it, creating thousands of songs, overcoming writer's block and being able to figure out what they want to produce or what they don't want to produce. So that's a huge help by itself. For people like me that create content and want to have some good soundtracks that they can use in their content, for somebody who wants to maybe create a YouTube channel and make some money off of ad revenue one day by generating, songs online, or maybe having like a raindrop in the Himalayan mountains video channel where you just give like soothing noises, or whatever, right? There's a million other things, and I'll tell you how to connect it all in. But before we dive into that, take a look at some of these songs. Here's one.
I wasn't looking for anything serious. Got you running through my mind, I'm delirious. Then I tripped and fell in love with you. What's a daisy? Can't think straight, sorry, I'm usually not this spacey.
So we're gonna learn how to generate these. Then we're gonna use Make to integrate it in. And then we're gonna automate this. Sweet, so that to me is pretty awesome. Here's another one that I generated myself, and this video I'll put in the description down below. JSON to video just had an error where this didn't loop more than once. By the time you download this, they should fix this. After this example, we'll continue on. So that's freaking awesome. I really don't have words to say for that. I mean, I listened to this for the first time today. I was just blown away. I honestly, it has come so freaking far. I can't believe it. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can generate this, but also more importantly, integrate into thousands of different scenarios that you deem appropriate, right? And how we're going to do that is by using make.com here, right? And we're going to build out this exact scenario. And what's going on here is we start with a spreadsheet in Google Sheets, right? And we have different variables that we're going to add in here, like genre and the speed and mood and vocals. You can see we have a list of different genres and speeds and moods and all that kind of stuff. And once you select the criteria for the song, you can go ahead and click generate. And we're going to work through this scenario together, right? So when you click generate, this will start the scenario. And then we're going to create that song, right? Using artificial intelligence. And it doesn't create immediately. We need to wait about 45 seconds. But after that, we'll wait, and then we'll get that file, right? We'll get the song, and then we'll update the spreadsheet here with the ID and the lyrics and the link. And then we'll also download it, create a title here, and then publish it to SoundCloud right here so that all of your viewers can watch or listen to the song that you just created. That's just one example. Another example would be to connect it into something like JSON to video, where you generate a video using Luma Labs, which I did and you saw earlier in this video. And you can create like a music video straight from it, right? So that's another option as well if you guys are interested in that. And there's also 1,000,001 other ways that you can use this technology to your benefit. So with that being said, how we do this is by using Suno. This is the AI music generator. It's free to get started. All you have to do is come in and click create. You can create a song description, create it, they're going to be published on the right side. This is a great start, but obviously if you want to go a bit faster, you probably want to blend this in with automation as well. And that's what we're doing in this video. Before we get started, guys, if you are new to this channel and you do like content like this video, then please hit that subscribe button down below, because I will be releasing content just like this pretty much every single day. And also in the description below, I have a link to my top 10 make.com automations. You can go ahead and download that. It's going to redirect you over to make.com to sign up if you haven't done so already. And that really helps me out if you guys sign up through my affiliate link. So thank you very much. And let's dive into this video. Okay, so we're gonna get started by building out this workflow here in front of me, right? And as I was mentioning before, guys, Suno doesn't have an API. So you unfortunately can't just type in like add a new module and then type in Suno. It does not exist here. They also don't have their own API. So if you want Suno API, they don't have anything here. But what we're gonna use is we're actually gonna use a workaround. And what that is we're gonna use this site here, which is AimLappy. I think I don't know if I said that correctly, but I hope I did. Essentially, it gives you access to hundreds of models, right? So all you have to do is come in here and then generate an API key and sign up for a free account. Now, I've already done so I'm just gonna go into the AI playground here. And essentially what we're gonna be doing is just using this, right? But you need to do a couple things to get this set up. The first thing is you're going to need to go into key management and generate a key. If it doesn't allow you to do so, it's because you need to add $5 to your account. So in the billing section down here, you can just come in here and start on this plan, $4.99 a week. If you want to cancel on the first day, you can go ahead and do so. It will cost you $5. Okay, once you do that, you'll have access to this API key here, which we're going to use because this is going to be the gateway into connecting make.com to Suno so that we can generate all of these videos on autopilot. Okay, so that's awesome. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new scenario here from the ground up. If you guys haven't downloaded or installed, or if you haven't signed up for make.com, you can do so in the link below in the description. I do have my top 10 make.com automations. I'll be sending you over as well if you do end up using that. And once you're inside, we're going to create a new scenario here. And the start of the scenario is going to be a Google Sheets trigger. So essentially what I want to do is I want to create a dashboard here. And in this dashboard that we have, we're going to have a couple things, right? I kind of went over this earlier, but we have the genre of the music and the speed at which we're going at. And you can see here we have multiple different options for genre, multiple different options for speed, for mood as well. Do we want vocals in the music? And then these will be generated after the video is created. So we'll get the ID of the video. It will send us the lyrics as well for that video, which is really cool. Maybe you want to, publish this on social media and you want to paste the lyrics as well. And then we're going to have a link to that video too, right? And this generate button here, this column, this will actually go ahead and generate that video. So when we've gone ahead, we've entered in the genre, speed, mood, and vocals, and we're happy with our decision, then we can click true on here. You'll see that when it's checked, it's true. When it's unchecked, it is false. So when it is true, we're going to start this workflow. So in order for us to do that, we need to select Google Sheets here. There's a lot of different things that you can go ahead and choose. But for me, what I want to do is watch for changes, right? And watch for changes means that anytime any action happens here, if I type anything like this and I click enter, it will fire this change, which is important, right? If you go like watch new rows, that means that every time a new row is added, then it will fire this change. But to me, that doesn't, it's just, it's not the right way to go for this particular dashboard we're building. So we'll click watch changes and it's going to ask us to add in a webhook. In this module, we'll click add, and I'm just going to call this like AI music or whatever. It doesn't really matter. This is just for you to come back and recognize at a later point in time. And then it's going to give us this webhook, right? And this webhook is comprised of two parts. The first part is just like the root domain, like hook.us1.make.com. Depending on where you live in the world, this will change. It might be like US1, it might be like Europe1 or whatever. And then you have a unique identifier and this unique code here. This is unique solely to your account, but also to this specific this specific scenario. So anytime anything updates in this spreadsheet, it's going to send that information into make.com here, and that will be collected here, right? And that'll start the workflow. So that's awesome. So what we want to do is just actually copy this webhook here and come into make.com, and under extensions, we can go, and we have to do two things here. The first is go to add-ons and get add-ons. And we need to do this once for your Google Chrome browser. We'll just type in make.com here, or sorry, make, and just make sure to download make for Google Sheets here. You can see 295,000 people have downloaded it. Once you're good to go there, then you can go back to extensions and go to make for Google Sheets. And in the settings, we're gonna paste this URL that we just created here in the webhook URL field here, right? So we can click save, and we are good to go. It's going to take a couple seconds and let us know that everything has been saved, which means that if we come back in here and we click on this OK button and we run the scenario, right? And I'm just going to zoom in here a bit. If we come back and now we change anything here, we're going to receive that data like we just did, right? And you can see this beautiful value that I created, which is completely unique, which is ASDF ATSF. So that's the value that I entered in. And then a couple other important things are the row start and end. So you can see that it started on row 6, and it also started on column E, which is also column 5, right? So these are important as well. And then it shows all the row values. So everything in that row, it's going to give us information on, which is super cool, because if I click true here, it's going to copy in all of these additional values here, right? So we get access to what the genre, speed, mood, and vocals are for that particular song that we want to generate. So that is awesome, right? Now, the next thing is we actually want to take that information and we want to generate a song, right? And how we're going to go about doing that is we're going to use an HTTP module, and we're going to make a request. And essentially what we're going to do is we need to call aimlappy. Sorry, aimlappy, if I didn't say that correctly. But we need to call aimlappy and essentially create a song through Suno. So I'm going to go to aimlappy API documentation here. And in the first link here, it should give us access to aimlappy's, I'm just going to keep saying that over and over again, aimlappy's API documentation. And we need to get to the right model here. So under audio models, music and vocal, I'm going to go to Suno AI version 1. So they have access to so many different API endpoints, right? And Suno happens to be one of those. And essentially what we want to do is generate an audio file here, right? And this is a bit technical, guys. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is the foundation of software engineering where you're doing API calls. We're going to be walking through this together. So you're going to be able to pretty much understand everything that actually goes into at least this API call and feel comfortable with it. So right here, we clicked on generate an audio file, right? So it's giving us instructions here on how we can generate that audio file. So essentially, we need to have a post request to this URL. If we come back into make.com and we created a make a request HTTP module, it gives us a URL. So we want to copy and paste this URL in the URL file. And it also said post here, right? Which is the method. So we can change the method to post. What this means is it's software jargon for saying, how do you want to formulate a request, right? A get request is when you receive information back. So after the post request, we're going to have to get the file, get the audio file that we created, right? So get will be grabbing that audio file, but posting is like, think about like a postman. It's like sending things somewhere, right? So you're going to generate a music, right? So we're going to post that information at Suno to generate music, right? So those are the two main ones. Put is like update, delete is delete, right? And this is the URL that we actually have to send information to. So they have a designated URL that you need to send that information to for them to generate a song for you, which is here. Now, the next thing is what I want to do is we're just going to literally go down and copy everything here. So in the, we just entered in the URL, and we're just going to literally copy all of this. The next thing is the headers. If we come back here, we can see underneath we have headers. So we have to enter that in too. There's a couple things we need to do. We have to have authorization, and we also have to have content type as well. So this is going to be another header here. And for the content type, it's application JSON. So we can just literally copy and paste this in. And then for the authorization, it's going to be bear your API key. Right now, we have to replace this with our actual API key. So if we come back into here, we can just go ahead and go into key management active and grab that key, and then come back in here and just paste that in there. You guys are welcome to use this. I think I have like $2 left for the next couple of days, so feel free to go for it. If you missed that window, I'm so sorry. Now, once we've done that, we've done all the headers. We've also entered in the URL, and then we have something called the payload, which is just the information that we're sending, right? We're telling it, hey, this is the kind of song that we want. So these curly braces here, we're just going to copy this, and we're going to paste in the payload section. Payload, body, those are pretty much synonymous, but essentially in the body, there's a couple different ways you can format data. But because we want JSON data, which is this structure here, we have to structure it the same way. We need to choose raw, and it's going to say content type JSON application. You can also see it up here. And then the request content, which we can just literally dump everything that we just created, that we just copied here. And then that is it, right? We've entered in all the rest of the information, all of this kind of stuff down here, like axios.post. This is essentially exactly what the HTTP module is doing. So this is just a different way of doing the exact same thing, but we're just entering in the URL, the payload, the headers, the response type, all that kind of stuff. We have just manually entered that in throughout this whole HTTP module. The only other thing we need to do is just finish off this prompt and also finish off these. So wait for audio. I'm going to select false. Please select false here because I think that's this aim lappy has like an error with waiting, and you'll just wait forever, and then you'll grow old and you'll just never receive your song ever. And don't blame me if that happens, if you turn like 80 or whatever. Next thing is make instrumental. I'm just going to put false as well. I don't want it to be an instrumental. I'm going to take a look here and see what I put here as well. Yep, so it's going to be false. And then we have the prompt here, which is like create a relaxing ambient music track, right? So maybe you create that YouTube channel and you decide to create ambient music for people to fall asleep to. And you see some of these channels with like millions and millions and millions of views, and they make a lot of money doing that, right? Maybe you want to try something like that. And you can go ahead and do that as well using a prompt like this. But for our case, we want to craft our prompt around what we generated here. And you don't have to use like genre, speed, mood, and vocals. You can do really whatever it is that you want. I'm just using this as an example. So I'm going to say, please create and I'm going to delete this. And in the row values, because remember, we're passing in all of the row values on the row that we click. So if we click generate here, it's going to pass in all these row values. So I'm going to say, please generate a column B. And we're passing in column B here. And just remember, in make.com, in a module, you have access to all the previous modules, right? So this will have access to all the information from here. When we add a next module, it'll have access to the HTTP module here, right? So we're just passing in the information that we already have. So we want to create a slow, and then I'm going to put happy song, column C, and pop song. So column B, C, A. So create a slow, happy pop song, right? I actually want upbeat here. So it's going to be upbeat, happy pop song. Please make it catchy. I'm just going to say, just please make it catchy. And then we have the vocals here, right? And the vocals actually goes here. So this is Boolean logic. What Boolean logic means is it has two values. It can be true or it can be false. Those are the only two things that it could possibly be. So if you just want it to be an instrumental, it'll be true. If you want vocals in there as well, it should be false. So how we can deal with this is we'll hit this settings box up here, or the gear icon, and we'll click if, right? We'll delete false. And we're just going to have a conditional statement. So if 1 equals 2, if this is true, go down path A. If it's false, go down path B, right? In this case, because 1 does not equal 2, it would go down path B. But if this was 1 equals 1, then it would go down path 1, right? So we'll set this up so that if it's true, we'll put true. If it's false, we'll put false. So how we do this is we're going to delete this condition. We're going to come back in here and we're going to say, hey, D, check what the value of D is, right? If D equals, right, and you can't just put equals here, unfortunately, you have to use the actual equals sign in make.com, because this is like a Boolean logic too. This is a special reserved keyword in make.com to actually tell make, hey, this is actually a formula that you have to check. It's not like the case equals. So if this equals true, then go down true. If not, then go down false, right? So this is how we can determine here what it is actually going to be. We can click OK. And just before I run this, I'm going to set up the next couple steps here. We want to add in something called a sleep. So this is under, if I went too fast there, tools, and then you can click on tools and go to sleep. Now, what sleep does is it delays this whole workflow for a set amount of time. You can define how long you want it to wait for. I'm going to choose 45 seconds. And what's going to happen is it's going to get here and it's going to wait for 45 seconds. And the reason we're doing that is because this video takes maybe 20, 30, 40 seconds to generate. And we don't want to get this video back before it's been generated. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So we have to set a reasonable amount of time. Typically in software engineering, you have like async and await, something where it, like literally you don't have to set like a random interval, like 45 seconds. It's just when it's done, it will return back. Unfortunately, make.com doesn't have that basic functionality in here. So we have to do a workaround like this, which will wait 45 seconds. And then what we'll do is we'll just call this HTTP module again, and we will receive that video. So I'm going to clone this, right, so that I don't have to type everything out again. And in this HTTP module, now it's going to be a GET request. And if we come back in here and we click fetch generations, fetch is synonymous with saying get. So fetch and get are the same thing. We're just receiving that generation that we just created. So we'll click fetch, and we have the link here, which is, I believe it's actually different. Yep, so we don't have that generate. And then it says get here, which is get as well. And then we'll just come down here and look at what we have. So content type, JSON application, which is the exact same as what we have here. And then authorization and the bearer key. This is to authorize you so that they actually know who you are, and they're like, okay, this person actually has an account, they paid for this, and all that kind of stuff. And that's actually pretty much it. The only other thing that we need to do is add in these IDs here, right? So I'm actually going to copy this, and I'm going to paste this in here. Now, what this is this is a query parameter. This is the exact same as using a query string down here, right? So it could be like ID equals 123, right? So we need to find the video that we want to download based on the ID that it generates in module 2. Now you can't see the ID because I haven't ran this scenario yet, but it will give us an ID, and we need to use that ID to put in here to find this video, right? Now you can put it up here. You can also put it down here as well. I'm just going to keep it up here, and essentially, we can delete ID, which is a placeholder for this, and we actually have to download the ID. Just 2 more steps here. In both HTTP modules, we need to parse the response here so that it gives us legible information that we can read. Otherwise, it's just going to be jumbled, and we'd have to have another step to parse it anyways. But we can just take care of that straight through the JSON module. So let's go ahead and run this. We're going to pause after this just because we don't have the ID anyways. So because we haven't ran this, we don't have access to the ID to put in here. So let's go ahead and we'll run this and wait for new data here. And then I'm going to click generate, and it's going to go ahead and generate the video. So we got an error, and it says 400 bad request, status code 400, timestamp, path, generate, message. So it's saying that there's an error. Expected property name or whatever in JSON at response 4, typically what that means is it's something to do with this particular prompt here. Okay, so I think what the issue here is that these like brackets aren't working properly. So I'm going to do the double quote. Usually single quote works as well, but for whatever reason, I think that that's probably what's holding us up here. So I'm just going to make sure I answered that incorrectly. And yeah, it looks good. We'll give this a shot and try running this one more time. We'll wait for new data, click generate, and see if it works this time. Okay, sweet. So it's really just as simple as that. Point is here, guys, is that a lot of the time, there's just really stupid errors that come up, and it can really slow you down if you don't know what you're doing. But what I would do is just go to ChatGPT and ask it, hey, this is what's going on and how can I fix this, right? So this is cool, right? It generated all the information. You can see here with the parse response, it clicked yes. And what that did is it gave us this beautiful data, which is prettified and just parsed. So we can come in here and see all the information. Now, what I want to do is I want to copy this ID here and I want to paste that ID over here, right? And you could just go ahead and hard code it in there, but obviously that's not ideal because that's only going to work one time. So what we need to do is come into data and click on the ID here, which is going to map it in from the previous module. Remember how we can receive information from previous modules and use it in future modules? That's exactly what we're doing here. It's a dynamic ID. It will update every single time we run this. And that is effectively it. We can just go ahead and delete this request content here, and then we're pretty much good to go. All we need to do is do one final step here, and that is update the Google Sheet. So we'll click update row, and then we'll just select the right account here to make sure that whatever account we're using is in fact the same as up here. And from there, we need to actually identify which sheet we're using. What I like to do is select from all, and then we need to grab the ID of the sheet, which is actually in the URL here. It's before the /edit and after the d/. So we can copy that from the URL, paste that in the spreadsheet ID field. For whatever reason, every time you go to update a row, it always puts map here. Please uncheck that and we'll select the sheet 1 here, which is by default the standard tab down here. This is just default. You can change the name and it'll change whatever is listed here as well. The row number we actually have, and the reason we have the row number is because we started this workflow using Google Sheets, right? So we know that it's row 2 already, and how we've referenced this is coming back to the original Google Sheets module, which is module 1, and click the row start, which will put in the correct row. And all we need to do is finish off by adding in these 3 values, the ID, lyrics, and the link. So in the HTTP module number 4, where we're receiving the information, we should have access to this data here. Now we can see that I forced stop this. So what I want to do is I want to run this again. There's just one more thing that I want to do before we actually get to this point. And that is we need to set up a filter here, because right now, anytime we do anything, this will run. So we're going to set up a filter so that this only runs if we actually want it to run, because we don't want it to run if we change this to like rock or whatever, right? So we need to make sure that first of all, it's column H, right? So this is, we have to actually count with the number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we need to make sure that this is in fact column 8. And also the value that we're changing, right, which is right here, is equal to true. And I always like making sure this is case insensitive. So in case it's lowercase or whatever, it's also true. But essentially the value is whatever you change. So if I come in here and type this, that's the value. If I check this off, it oscillates between true and false. So we can go ahead and click OK. So it has to be column 8, which is this column here. And this value has to be true as well. And only if those 2 conditions are met, then it will continue on with the rest of the workflow. We'll wait for new data here, and we will click generate. And it's going to generate us this video. We're going to wait 45 seconds so that it gives Suno the time it needs to generate the music video for us. And then after that 45 seconds is up, then we will call or get that file. And then we're going to take that file, we're going to take the video URL, we're going to take the ID, we're also going to take the lyrics, and we're going to paste it in our Google Sheet here. And you can just do this as many times as you want. And just to tie this all together, what we could do, just as an example, and there is so many things we could do here. But let's say we want to upload this to SoundCloud, right? We can type in SoundCloud. We can we can post a track here. So let's say we want to, where is it? Track. We're going to upload a new track. Okay. And yeah, we can just essentially add this kind of stuff in, right? So we need to have title and asset data and all that kind of stuff. In order for us to get that information, what we need to do is we need to add in a module here, which is uploading it to Google Drive. So for example, Google Drive here, we're going to select Google Drive and we're going to upload a file, right? The reason we have to do this is because it doesn't accept a link. It only accepts the actual file. So we need to upload the file into Google Drive from a link, and then we can share that data with SoundCloud. So you can see I have like 1,000,001 different Google Drives here. Just make sure to select the one you want. In this case, you cannot use a Gmail account. You actually have to use like a business suite account. So if you go to like Google Workplace or whatever, you can go ahead and you can sign up for free, or sorry, not for free, but I think it's like $7 a month. They will force you into a $29 a month plan. Just make sure to unsubscribe, cancel, and then resubscribe for $7 a month, and you'll get a trial again. But anyways, in here, you'll just select your account and you can just select the list that you want to dump the file into. I have a test folder here, so I'm going to download it there. And it's going to ask for another file. And I'm just going to click OK here. And I'm going to back up and actually add one more file in here, or one more module in here. And that module is going to be a HTTP module. And we're going to choose this get a file, which is going to download the file from a URL, right? And that URL is going to be in the data. It's going to be the audio URL here, right? And once we download that from that link, then we can pass it straight in here. And you can see it already actually loads it in here, right? It has the HTTP module immediately. We can click OK. This is going to upload that file. And we get a 2 error here. I think this is just error in make.com. Once you click OK again, it goes away. And then yeah, we can essentially, we don't even need to do this file here. We can just download it straight from the HTTP file. And I think that's, you can name it whatever it is that you want, right? In this case, you just need to have like maybe a name in here, or we could generate an AI name for this. So let's just go ahead and generate an AI name here. So we can use ChatGPT. And then we can create a completion here. And we'll just use like a basic GPT-4o mini file here. This is just going to save you a bit of money. But before we do this, just make sure you connect in your account. In case you guys haven't done so already, it's going to ask you for your API key and your organizational. And in order to get this API key and organization ID, you just need to go to platforms.openai.com and then go into settings, and you should be able to find the organization ID there and the API key. You will have to add in $5. It's not like ChatGPT where you can just use it for free with the API version of ChatGPT. You do need to have a minimum balance that is, I believe, $5. And then once you're all good with that, we can go ahead and continue on with this. Max tokens is synonymous with how much money you want to spend and the length of the response. I like to put in something like this, maybe 500. You don't want it to put in like 1. Obviously, it's going to save you the most money, but then it's not going to actually deliver the response that you want. It's just going to cut off because it's not enough tokens. So a good number here would be 500. Now, with this role, I'm going to choose user, and I'm just going to say, please create me a song title for these lyrics. And we can go ahead and yeah, just generate some, we can generate a title based on this. We'll pass in the lyrics here. And that's pretty much it, right? It'll read the lyrics and it'll give us a title, and then we can put that response in the map section here on SoundCloud, we'll just choose the title and we'll click results here. So that will be the title for the SoundCloud. Just one other thing with this ChatGPT is we want to add one more message in here. This is going to be a system message, and we just want to remind ChatGPT, please don't include any intros or outros. And then we can click OK, and that's good, because ultimately sometimes it'll be like, hey, sure, no problem. Let me just create the longest introduction possibly known to humankind, and then stuff that in right before the answer. And then if you publish this automatically to SoundCloud, it'll give that intro, and you're just going to be face palming for the next week, being like, I shouldn't have done that. So just avoid that by removing any intros and outros. We got the title, we got the asset data, and you can add in really anything else that you want here. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run this scenario, and I'm going to pause it, and I'll be back once it's done. But yeah, you guys can add in anything you want in the SoundCloud option here. So I'm going to run this scenario, and once it's all good to go, I will come back and show you guys the results. You'll see here it didn't pass that filter because I unchecked it. We'll wait for data one more time and click generate, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're back. Everything has worked perfectly fine. We generated this title and it said sunshine every day, and then we posted it on to SoundCloud, right? So let's actually take a look at this link and see what this sounds like. Here we go.
Woke up on the right side, sunshine in my eyes, got a smile I can't hide, for the joy it multiplies, dancing in the morning light.
It's pretty good. I actually really like that. That's really good, especially if you're spending 1 second on it.
Colors shining oh so bright. Sunshine every day, we'll never lose our way. Keep the clouds at bay, let's laugh and dance and play.
Okay, I'll cut it off after the beat drop here. I could just go out dancing right now. I mean, that is so freaking awesome. Oh man, I think I'm just gonna listen to this in the next like 8 days straight. Man, that is awesome. That is such. I'm so happy that is the one that I got to share with you guys. That's so freaking sweet. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially it, guys. I mean, that is how you can generate music using AI, and then you can just automate that music, and you can publish that music on SoundCloud or anywhere else, right? And the cool thing is you don't just have to use SoundCloud. Like, you could create those videos using JSON to video. So if you saw this example here, we just created like a video. We actually used Luma Labs to generate this this particular video. We put it on loop, and it just kept going over and over and over. I was going to initially do the video on this, but because JSON to video had an error where the loop didn't work when you sent data from JSON into this to create it, it worked in the preview section here. It just didn't work when you created it from JSON. I chose to switch it up and go the SoundCloud route instead. But those are just two examples. You could generate content for social media, and then you could automatically publish it on Instagram, for example, straight through make.com, right? So Instagram, you could do Instagram for business, publish it there. You could publish it on Facebook. You could publish it on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Twitter, whatever, right? The possibilities are just endless, right? There's just so many different places that you could publish that content. And the cool thing is that you're merging artificial intelligence and automation together. You're getting the best of both worlds, because AI can take producing a song like that and condense it from 3 months down to one click of a button. And that's great. And that's, the way the world's heading. And that's what a lot of people are going to be doing. But you can not only speed it up by 3 months, but you can also just automatically publish it on all these platforms too, right? So you can automate the process of having to do really anything manually other than just reviewing your work and making sure you like what you produce and you feel like it represents you well and you want to publish that online, right? So there's just so many different use cases for this technology. And in this video, I wanted to kind of just give you a broad overrange on how you could not only use the AI, but also merge it with automation to really get whatever outcome that you want. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, first of all. Really appreciate your time here. And if you guys found value in this, make sure to subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching one of my videos, or the 50th, or the 100th, or the 2th. Oh, I'm just kidding. I don't have that many videos, but make sure to subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you found value in this. Thanks once again, guys, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.